Today's discourse can be titled as Importance of Guru or the Master. Who is a master or Guru? Sadguru. Master is an authority to help a seeker to meet God. How Guru helps, how the Master helps a disciple to meet God is a very lengthy process. Before that, let us try to understand why one cannot meet God, why one cannot attain unity, oneness with God. It is because God Himself has laid down such a system wherein no one can meet Him independently, directly, or bypassing the medium of Satguru or the Master. Guru Nanak Ji has claimed in his hymns that without getting into contact of word or shabad or sound, which is also known as Naad, Sultanul Askar, Kalamullah, or Tao in Japanese. So without connecting to word, you cannot attain a position of truthfulness. Now question is what is word? What is God? For this Bible says, in the beginning was Word, Word made the world, Word was with God, and Word was God. So this entire creation is created by God Himself, better referred to as Word by the saints. Word or Shabad, we say in Hindi. Then coming to next stage of the system, Guru Nanak Ji says, and without Naam, no one can connect to word or Shabad. Now question is what is Naam? Naam here in this context is a hymn imparted to the seeker or disciple at the time of initiation. Otherwise, in other words, Naam and word are the same. Naam is another name of, another nomenclature of word. But here in this context, in the system laid down by God, as claimed by Guru Nanak Ji. Here means the hymn imparted by the Satguru or the Master. Now, third stage, Guru Nanak Ji says, but no one can get this naam which connects you ultimately to the Word or God. No one can have access to this naam without the medium of Satguru or the Master. And this is the system made by God Himself. So this is the essence of the importance of the Master in spiritual word, in the word of uniting with the Lord, uniting our being to the super being, uniting the soul with super soul. So this system has been laid down God Himself. So that's why not only Guru Nanak Ji, Kabir Sahib has also said like this, that without Guru you cannot connect to God. You cannot connect to God by reading His books, holy books, scriptures, etc. These will be all exercise and futile. And all the saints like Paltu Das and other saints, they have also given similar opinions. So it is said, without Guru you cannot connect to Shabada, and without connecting to Shabad you cannot get moksha or salvation. Now let us come to Shabad again. Shabad is not any type of sound that can be created by worldly means, by any tools, by any physical means. It is a sound that is emanating from an agglomeration of energy, from a source of energy which is the Creator Himself, which is God Himself. So that is called word. So to connect that word, the word that permeates all the beings in this universe, not only in this earth, in this universe, and which is called omnipresent, omnipotent, or omniscient. So that energy, also known as God, super soul, super being, can be attained only with the guidance and grace of Satguru. Now, what is Satguru? What stuff he is made of? And why so importance has been given to Guru by God? Guru or the Master or Satguru is also none else but God Himself. Satguru is an incarnate of Satpurush. The Satpurus or the authority from the true region has himself manifested in the garb of a guru, physical form, a person. This is what Bulle Shah has claimed. Bulle Shah said that God himself has come in the shape of Guru. Swamiji also said that Radha Swami, or the Supreme God, he has taken the form of a Guru, in form of a human being, and inspiring the seekers, inspiring the souls to understand their position over here, out here, and to go back and meet their original source, original abode, that is Sachkhand. So, a real Guru, a perfect master, is none else but God Himself, Satpurus Himself, the master sitting in the truth region of truth Himself. Say again, God Himself, or Word itself. So, Word and Master are one and the same. So, here is a point to understand clearly that any human being cannot put on this garb of mastership, of gurudom, or a guide or a spiritual guide of its own will, because our human body, our physical body is very, very limited. A real guru is one who can help or who can contract a disciple, a seeker sitting at 1,000 miles, kilometers away. But a physical guru cannot do this, because due to the physical limitations, he cannot, or anyone cannot do this, he or she. But when Satpurus, Radha Swami, or super being, super soul, or God appoints someone as or commissions someone as master, guru, then he delegates all the powers on his person, on her person, and by that power, a physical guru, a living master, can take care of his or her disciples sitting far, far away beyond oceans or beyond mountains, and guide them perfectly as God can. So, this way we can say God Himself is Guru. Then secondly, the question is why God has appointed a mediator, that too in human garb. The answer is very simple. We human beings cannot understand the language of animals, the language of other insects, creatures. So, God Himself has come into the garb of a human being, so that we can understand His language, His words, His utterances, and follow them. Although Almighty God can speak without mouth, can see without eyes, can walk without feet, but in that case, we shall be bewildered. We shall be confused as to who is guiding us and why. Is it some ghost? So, to avoid that confusion, God comes in the form of a human being and sits us or walks us, sits with us face to face and walks along our side to make us believe that I am being guided by a saint, by master, by guru. Another question is, why can't God Himself take care of all the disciples, all the seekers? Well, there are so many hindrances, impediments in our mundane life. To understand this, let us come to the nature of our being. For example, not only human being, also animals. There are some 3, 4, 5 things which are common to all, and those things, those attributes, those traits often distract us from going towards God. Because no one who is enjoying every pleasure of the world think of God, leave aside trying to meet Him or realizing Him. But those who feel, due to any reason, negative or positive, or due to any dearth feeling in their life, due to any problem in their life, those who realize that there is some superpower who is playing with them, they try to connect with Him. So when they try to connect to God, or try to meet God, I try to realize God, then these worldly things, these mundane things, try to distract us. How? For example, there are several things. In common things, we can take the sleeping, hunger, fear. These are the common things in animals and human beings both. Then there are distractions from lust, anger, the 5 enemies we call lust, anger, greed, illusion, and ego. Because so long as we are controlled by these things, lust, anger, greed, illusion, and ego, we cannot think of God, and no one can think of God. Because if we are enjoying everything, why should we care for God, and who is God? But when we are pulled down by our destiny, when we are made unsuccessful by our destiny, when we are put into torture by our destiny, then some of us, not all of us, some of us do start realizing that something is wrong with this life, and someone is there who is pulling strings from behind. And here he starts or she starts seeking for the remedy. and seeking for the remedy. Sometimes we may go to some religious place, some temple, some mosque, or some holy river, or some other place of occult importance where occultism is being practiced. And in this process too, there is a great possibility of our being ostrayed. So here, a seeker, a true seeker, needs interference of a living master who is agent of God, representative of God, who is himself God. In other words, so then when we develop a desire from inside to get rid of all these things, of these negative pullbacks, then the Guru comes into picture, as he said, when Chela is ready, Guru appears. When Chela is ready, Guru appears. But it's not like that Guru appears from nowhere. Guru appears like a saint, like a practitioner himself, like a sage, like a mystic. And he explains at length to us the cause of our sufferings in this world, cause of our distractions, cause of our pullbacks, and not only cause, but also the effect of those pullbacks. And then he guides us the process. Then he guides us about the process of getting rid of these things. He imparts a technique, he imparts a method, he tells us how to do the bhajan, how to sit in bhajan, how to listen sound correct, how to do simran, repetition, meditation, so that you can realize God. Okay, but here again, how can we see God? We have seen only Master. He is also in physical form, I am also in physical form. True. This is the point to ponder over. If we ponder over it, we find that God, who permeates all the creatures, all the creations on this earth and in this universe, he is not in any given form. He is certainly in astral form, or we can say in causal form. So if he is in astral form, he can be connected in astral form only. But physical can meet physical, astral can meet astral. There is a level of everything. So the question arises how to get into astral form while sitting in physical form. In physical form, we cannot see God. So here saints, as I have already submitted, Here the saints give us Naam, and through the practice of that Naam, by adhering to the techniques imparted, we convert our being into astral being while sitting in physical form. So when we convert our being into our inner being, our inner being into astral being, then we gradually start to connect to the astral super being in astral form. And then there are stages of evolution. There are several realms of destination, approaches, which we can reach one by one with the practical and astral guidance of master. Master accompanies us in that journey in the astral form and finally take us to the super being or the God or the Lord. Here again, the question arises, after all, why God has put us in this trouble? Where was the need to do all this, then send the master and then make us sit in bhajan, connecting to sound correct, or going into meditation, or focusing our third eye focus? Right. But Guru Nanak Ji says in this respect, it is a drama being played by God Himself. We have given certain roles in drama. Why is playing a drama? It is His will. He is omnipotent. He is all powerful. He can do anything. None can stop Him. So He is doing His drama. Now we have no option but to play our role in that drama. Guru Nanak Ji says, साचे अपना खेड रचाया, that true God is enacting His play. We as actors are supposed to participate and do our roles. If we do our roles, Huzur Maharaj used to say, if our roles are well played, we may get Oscar award. Or our films will flop. And flopping means coming again and again to this word of birth and rebirth, birth and death. Now, question is why and how we can do this bhakti and practice of Naam. So that is to be imparted by the Master himself. That subject is not for anyone else, not for any satsangkarta, not for any other senior person. It is his prerogative because only he has got the authority from the Satpurush, Supreme God, to do it, and he has got the power. Without authority, here no one can succeed. In even mundane affairs, those who are in authority can exercise that, but those who have no authority, they can only cry. So there is no use of crying. If you have to be effective, you should have the authority. So Guru has the authority conferred on by Supreme God, who has made him like him, also superpower. Guru is also superpower. Kabir Sahib says, those who think Guru is a human being, they are blinds. And they will keep on suffering in this world. And also, finally, they will go to hell. गुरु को मानस जानते ते नर कहिए अंध दुखी रहे संसार में आगे जम को पंथ. So other saints also have. Even our Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it has been said, the Guru is God, Guru is Brahma, Guru is Veda, Guru is everything. Guru is all merciful. So Guru, or even the Vedic scriptures, he is also known as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Sakshat God, direct God on this earth. In Ramayana, Tulsidas ji also claims like this. A Guru is God in human form. So I bow to his feet because he is very kind, he is very merciful, he can guide me to the truthfulness. And in Gurubani, time and again this philosophy has been maintained, preached, dictated, told, and insisted upon that without the master, without the Guru, no one can attain moksha, no one can attain Nam, and without Nam you cannot practice, you cannot connect to sound current. So, this is the law provided by God. So, Guru on this path is very important. Without Guru, we cannot attain the moksha. Now, what is moksha? Some feel moksha means freedom, freedom from actions. So some persons think that you at thinking level, at thought level, develop such a mentality that gradually you start thinking that this house is not mine, this is of God, this thing is of God, my relations are not mine, they are my enemies or friends and so on, so I am alone. Okay, it's a very sublime thinking. But here, when you try to tread on this path, the negative authorities, they have been provided by negative powers to drag you back. Tulsidas ji in Uttarkanda of Sri Ramcharitmanas describes that when a seeker starts progressing on this path of self-realization, he is then thrown with the temptations, with the negative distractions, and pulled down to a place, to the baser place where he already had been. So, to save a seeker from this mischief of negative powers, or say call, a living master, a perfect master, a real master. Real master again, I mean the master who has been appointed by God Himself he hasn't come through election process. He hasn't come through acclamation. He hasn't come through by appointment. No. The real Guru is one who has been appointed by God Himself, and God keeps on meeting him, seeing him, talking with him, conversing with him, and they are always face to face. That's why it is said that Guru in this process becomes God Himself. He is God Himself. In Ramayana, Sri Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas, he has said, one who knows you, he becomes you. But one can only be you when you make him to see you, when you enable him to know you. Otherwise, no one can know you. Guru Nanak says in Japji that a person who is so high, very, who is going daily to those higher realms where God resides, only he can know God. So, when one knows God, he becomes God. So, that point of view is also Guru is God. And when God is with you, no negative power can harm you. No one can take away your sacrifices, your practices of connecting to sound current, Simran Bhajan, repetition and meditation, because then Guru works as a repository of all your actions done in that direction. And he doesn't allow the negative power to snatch it from you, unless you himself are tending to go that side. And if you do that, you will be, as Baba says, tied to the bulldozer and dragged back. That will be very painful. That shall be very painful. So it's a Sangi should always try to remain in the boundary walls provided by Master Satguru, boundary walls of code of conduct, boundary wall of do's and don'ts, boundary walls of moral standing, boundary walls of non-violence, truthfulness, etc. So, here we can conclude that without a complete master, without a perfect master, without a living master, we cannot trade a path, we cannot progress a single step on the path of spirituality, on the path of God realization, on the path of self-realization, and that's the prime importance of God. Even in Bible it is said that Christ used to say, if you want to see Father, you can see through me. That in other words, he was the master, and if you want a disciple who wanted to see the God, he has to go through the master. So all the religious scriptures advise us, and rightly advise us, to take refuge at the lotus feet of Satguru, Master, to realize God, to reach our abode of truthfulness, Sachakhand, whatever name you can avoid, we can give to it or have already been given to it.